Okay. All right. I'm recording. Here we go. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. All right. We are back on the Sunday Night Talk. With me, as always, friend, football fan, San Francisco 49ers shirt wearing general counselor, Omar Carmona, back on the screen. How are you, man? Happy Sunday night again.
Happy Sunday night. It's a great night. And, when you looked at the games on paper, nothing really stood out as a great matchup. Maybe the Seahawks Rams, but nothing to get excited about. There were some exciting games today.
Yeah, we looked at the slate, and there's definitely always a week in the NFL where it's just kind of boring.
Right.
And this one looked like it could have been that week, but we had some fun games, fun week in the NFL. And then we should say we're changing up our format a little bit this week because right now, as we're recording this, the Sunday night game is in progress right now. We're 7:46 in the fourth quarter, Baltimore 17, New England 23. And we're going to sort of call the game as we go for this Sunday night. So we'll change it up
I
a little
like
bit.
it.
We're live. We're live. We're going
We're live.
we're going with it. So
So,
let's
how about this?
go ahead.
Now, so what you've seen so far, okay, New England's winning 2017. It looks to me that a lot of coaches have already figured out Lamar Jackson. I mean, tell me if you disagree with me. And so why would we think anything less of Belichick? If other coaches have figured out Lamar, Belichick figured out Lamar. It just
He
seems
would be the
like
one to
he's
figure
not
him
as
out.
effective.
It's
What's
it's
that?
uh he yeah, watching the game, but I had this thought last week and then you had it the week before where you like I think you even texted me, is Lamar a liability? I'm not sure if you're talking about another quarterback, but you had
No, it was
something to
Lamar.
that effect. Yeah, it seems Lamar is super fast, super good at eluding, but he throws everything underneath. So if you're the coach, why not press him to put the ball deep every time? And it
Right.
seems like the defense has done a fairly good job of that. He had the one touchdown pass that was about a 20-yard strike, but overall, that seems like the strategy against Lamar.
I mean, it just seems like, well, he was. I mean, he said he was a pocket passer, but it doesn't look like he's developed into a consistent pocket passer. Um, you know, he's got some tight ends. He's got a couple good receivers. So I mean, it's not like he doesn't have weapons. I just think if you make him one dimensional, you got a shot to win the game. You got a shot to control the ball.
Yeah, and I think the Patriots are giving them quite a game on a rainy Sunday night. Well, why don't we keep an eye on that game? And we're
For
going to go
sure.
with let's tackle the your game my game for the week. You want to start or should I?
Oh, I'll start. There was a few.
You do.
I was one of, like, again, there was nothing really popped out. I mean, we're going to talk about pretty much all the games a little bit, but wow, I want to talk about Bills at Cardinals, which turned out to be the best game in my opinion of the day. We're talking about Josh Allen, who had decent numbers again, 32 of 49, 284, two touchdowns, even caught a touchdown catch um, uh, on a trick play. And he's getting the job done. He's making some good throws. And then this Cardinals team, they're scrappy. They're led by Kyler Murray, and 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 I think the Cardinals are going to be a tough team to beat this year. They're already a tough team to beat, but I think coming in the next year and the next couple of years, this is going to be the team to beat coming out of what I think is the best division in football, the NFC West. You watch. Uh, uh, they are going to make a deep playoff run sometime very soon. So it was, the Bills score a touchdown really, at the very end of the game, and there it is, that kind of that Aaron Rodgers esque throw, that
Yeah,
Hail
very
Mary,
Aaron Rodgers. I already saw the split screen with the two of them on each
right?
side comparing them. Yeah, very Aaron Rodgers like.
And you got DeAndre Hopkins, who in my opinion is the best receiver in football. And I know there's some other great receivers out there right now, but I think he's the best receiver in football. And this is the same DeAndre Hopkins that before he was fired from the Houston, Bill O'Brien ran out of the Houston Texans. So it kind of makes you think what the hell
Mm-hmm.
that franchise was thinking. I mean, once he gets rid of your best player, along with JJ Watt, but your best player on offense, and you get rid of him, and then you don't stick with the guy and you fire him, makes you question who's making the decisions in that front office. And he comes down with an unbelievable catch. Arizona Cardinals improved to 6-3. Bills, not shabby, 7-3. They're going to be in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see how this season plays out for both teams, but they're both contenders. They are both definitely contenders.
Yeah, I have a few questions for them later on for both teams, but I'm definitely impressed the way Kyler Murray just moves in space. He's running around. He scores those 2 touchdowns on foot easily. It's the perfect
Easily.
play call. He executes them perfect. But I do like the Buffalo Bills Josh Allen quarterback pass or hand
Oh,
it off,
nice.
and then and then even the announcers are like, he should be their tight end. Look at those hands. I love it when the announcers like to break down what else a QB can do. So, but I didn't watch that game. I just saw the highlights. Take me through that last possession by the Bills, because they got a touchdown. They're thinking they're gonna win it, and then the Cardinals steal it from them.
So at the very end of the game, Stephon Diggs, who's having a great year, and it's one of those players, Stephon Diggs, that he gets away from Kirk Cousins. And again, I think Kirk Cousins is one of the biggest ripoffs, okay, in the NFL. He gets these massive deals. I think he's terrible, but it just seems like Stephon Diggs' talent wasn't realized until he gets with Josh Allen. You know what I mean? And,
Mhm.
and they have this, they go 12 plays, 3 minutes, and they score with 34 seconds left. So I mean, you're thinking the game's over, right? But
34 seconds. The game was in 1982. That game was, you were on the bus at that point.
you're on the bus. You're
We're
on
going
the
to the
bus,
bus.
and next thing you know, it's just then it just takes 4 plays. 4 plays. They start at the 25-yard line. A quick 14-yard pass. Kyler short up the middle for 9 yards. They're using their timeouts wisely. A little run here, here and there, and next thing you know, they're in striking distance from 43 yards out. So they went about 32 yards from where they started. In 30 seconds. So to pull that, it's a huge win. Very proud of the Cardinals. Again, they're in my 49ers division, but you know not good news for the Niners, because just when you think that you get over that Seattle Seahawks hump, the Rams hump, you're here to
Mhm.
stay. You're going to put stake your claim to this division, and here come the lowly Arizona Cardinals, and all of a sudden it's not your division anymore.
Yeah. Quick game update. Patriots had the ball, 4:20 left in the game. Still 17-23. So right now they're looking good. I was thinking when it comes to last minute game drives, there is no situation where you don't have enough time to at least try.
Right.
34 seconds left. Like, all right, well, we at least get to a spot where we can throw a Hail Mary. 1 minute left. Oh, I got plenty of time. I can angle it down. It's almost to the point where like we need a totally different defensive strategy. Why not just blitz like crazy
Right.
instead of getting back and defending? Just blitz. Worst case scenario, they score a touchdown. You get the ball back quicker.
Right.
Yeah, it seems it's so offensive friendly. No matter how much time is left on the clock, you at least can work it down to get a Hail Mary opportunity.
And now with this score, with about 4 minutes left, no one's ever going to question Bill Belichick's clock management. So this is the opposite of the knock on Kyle Shanahan. Bill Belichick should put this game away with his running game. So we'll see how this plays out. What
Yeah.
game did you watch?
Okay. My game was, I was between two, but I decided to go with Seattle at the LA Rams. I watched this game. Seattle loses this game 16-23. This is a 6-2 versus a 5-3 matchup. I'm watching the pregame. I don't know if you saw any of this, but they're showing DJ Metcalf is wearing a little t-shirt for his warm-ups, and he's catching one-handed balls in the end zone. And he is just ripped. He's a statue of granite, and he's jumping high in the air. You see the athletes in the game, and it looks kind of normal speed, but you saw this guy warming up, and he looked like a horse with hands.
He loves his abs. He loves his abs.
So strong. And then instantly there's Instagram pictures of him flexing, catching balls. And then, I was making the argument of a receiver to win MVP a couple weeks ago. And then the game gets going. They never throw it to him. They don't even target him in the first half at all. And doesn't get a single ball thrown to him.
That's crazy, because you figure at any DB that lines up against him, it's a mismatch. He's so big, he's going to win.
I forgot who was calling the game, but at one point they send him in motion, and the DB Jalen Ramsey doesn't go with them. So they generate a mismatch, and the announcer calls it. They go, okay, they got a mismatch, expect them. And Russell Wilson looks the other way, and I think he either threw it away or dumped it down. But I don't get how they forget DJ Metcalf is on their team. Here's his stats for the game. Metcalf went, where is it? He was thrown to 2 times. Here it is. 2 catches, 28 yards, targeted 4 times.
Got to get him.
I don't understand how that you're just target him 4 times. You got at least a couple of jump balls to get PIs or let him do his thing. Russell Wilson, a fairly normal day, except for 2 bad picks. 22 of 37, 248 yards, 2 picks, 0 touchdowns. I don't know what to make of this Seattle team, because they really seem like they were playing with 10 players. Not to mention, another bonus. The Rams unveiled a new sweatpants uniform combo. I don't know if you saw this.
I didn't see that.
They went blue jersey, the gray sweatpants, pants. There's no end to these uniform combinations.
Every team all of a sudden is the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah. I blame Oregon for this.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have too many teams. We can't all be changing our uniforms every week and then changing from sweatpants to no sweatpants. But the Rams were fairly pedestrian, yet they pulled out a pretty damn good win. And I even wrote in my notes, Rams back ? Right. So maybe this is what they need. Every team has the big win midway through the season that starts pushing the boulder down the hill, and they start getting a ton of momentum. Here's the Rams' next 3 games too: Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Arizona. So 2 out of 3 really hard games that are going to test them. We'll know if they're for real or not in 3 games.
I think that right now the NFC, I think we're starting to see the contenders come out of the AFC. We know Chiefs are going to be there. Steelers haven't lost yet. Bills are up there. But it just seems like, just when you think a team is invincible in the NFC, we're high on the Bucks one weekend, and then they let us down the next weekend. We're high on the Saints one weekend, and then they throw up a dud. And the same can be seen. The Seahawks are in a funk right now.
Tennessee's another one.
The Packers throw up some boneheaded games. They struggled with Jacksonville today for a while. So you just don't know what team is going to show up come playoff time and run the table to the Super Bowl. So that's going to be interesting to see.
It makes me think of the opposite end of the spectrum too, with teams that are bad and they start tanking, for a good draft pick. What do you think about this? There should be a penalty for the last place team. I'm not saying kick them out of the league for the next year, but there shouldn't be a reward for being last place with the number 1 pick. It almost should be, last place, you get the 3rd pick. You don't get the 1st. That way there's some sort of incentive to at least try. And this might be go into the category of my home team always kicks off Pat Ramirez ideas to change the league. But I don't like when you reward the worst team. I've been in fantasy football leagues where last place player gets kicked out. and I kind of like it.
I like the NBA style when there's a lottery of all the
Lottery, we could do
non-playoff
a
teams.
lottery. That'd be
And I
fun.
remember that when we were kids, that year that the Magic missed
Yeah.
playoffs by a game because that was Shaq's rookie year, right? And they had
Right.
this drastic improvement. They missed the playoffs and by just a game, and then they get the number one pick the following year. And that's like, well, now
Right.
you're like a real contender.
Right. Right. They got Anthony Hardaway out of that.
Well, they got
If I'm
Chris
remembering.
Webber and then turned that into
Oh,
Anthony
sorry.
Hardaway.
Gotcha. Chris Webber. They had Webber on the Magic? How am I not remembering this?
That was a draft day trade. They traded during the draft.
Oh, I got you. Okay,
There was a good scene where they had their hats on. They got them up to the stage and they made them switch their hats on TV.
got it. You're right. I forgot about that. There, you know what? We every once a decade we get a movie attempt at a good draft day storyline. I haven't seen one that really hits yet, but the draft day's got a ton of fun stuff. The suits alone, I
Hey,
love. I love
we'll
when the
talk
players
about
wear a
that.
suit.
Maybe we can reconvene, but I think the draft is this week.
What draft? Oh, NBA?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I got a few NBA thoughts too because the schedule came out and the NBA has a real quick turnaround. Finals
Yeah.
ended, and then hey, summer break's over. Get your ass back on the court. It's kind of like your mom. You would have summer would hit, school would end. Your mom would give you 2 weeks, and then she would tell you she signed you up for some summer camp.
Right.
You're like, oh, what the hell, mom? I'm gonna hang out with my friends. Like, oh no, you're taking Spanish class. Like, come on, I want to hang out with my friends. I don't want to go to class. That's what the NBA feels like right now. Short summer break here. Let's tackle a few of the other games in the league. And the other games alone could be their own category. Here's the early games. There were 5 early games. All of them were within 1 touchdown, except for one, the Tampa Bay Carolina one. I can't remember an early slate of games being this good. To me, the early games are always the hors d'oeuvre for the afternoon games.
Very good point. So we starting late because of lightning in the area, but they got to a late start. But just both teams, it was 3-0 through the first 3 quarters. It just seemed like no team wanted to score, and then they both put up a touchdown during the fourth quarter. Browns hang on to win 10-7. Of course, the big story there was at the end of the game, Nick Chubb breaks one loose, and he could have covered for Vegas, but he ran out of bounds.
I saw that. He went out of bounds. Players are smart now. They know clock management way better than the past.
What was interesting, though, is that he ran out of bounds, though.
He went out of bounds, right.
He had the idea, but the right idea is to fall at the 1 or 2 yard line. So not smart. Yeah. At that point, you might as well have taken the points than run out of bounds.
That was a bad cover or what were they at? Browns were winning. Oh yeah. If you see that, you got to be bummed out.
But hey, Browns are 6-3. So that's something to keep an eye on. They may be back.
Browns are back in the mix.
And then another game that you're thinking, do I really have to watch this crap? A Washington football team at the Lions, 30-27. Alex Smith almost pulled out a fourth quarter comeback in his first start in about 730 days, which would have been so awesome to see. He threw the ball a lot because they were behind. He went 38-55, 390 yards. But again, just a game that on paper, it's whatever. But it turned out to be a really good game. He almost pulled off a big comeback. Rams go to 4-5. Washington 2-7.
Quick game update. Patriots punted. We got 1:10. Baltimore still down. Let's see. What is that? 6 points? Yeah. Okay. They got 1 minute, 1:05 left. They're down 6. All right. We'll update. The offense takes the field. The thing with the Washington game, I would prefer not to watch Alex Smith. I'm too nervous for the guy.
I know.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see him go down. And he's putting up these great, it's almost like, all right, put up great numbers, get 1 win, and just fucking retire. This is too stressful. I can't stop going over to his family too and showing them the stands. I can't take it. I'm too nervous.
Then you move on. Packers go to 7-2, and they beat the Jaguars, who fall to 1-8. It just seems like when you're reading, when you're getting into this game, you're thinking this is one of those games that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw about 5 touchdown passes. He's going to be sitting on the bench from like the last drive of the third quarter on, because the game is just a blowout, and then struggle. And this is that Packers team that, how can you struggle against the Jaguars? You know what I mean?
They were down early too. They
Right.
didn't get into gear till late, and they pulled it off.
They squeaked it out 24-20. But again, so what Packers team is going to show up? Ooh, costly flag for Baltimore. They're going back. They're going the wrong way. They're going the wrong way.
That was huge. They're back a lot. They're on the 8, their own 8. If we're calling this game, let's see. Who are you? Are you Collinsworth or Al Michaels? No, Al. I'll be Collinsworth on the next. Let's call the next play. It's second and 15. All right, I'm gonna call the play. I think that's Al Michaels. Lamar drops back, steps up to the pocket. He's scrambling. He's looking for somebody. Decides to tuck it, and he's out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Wow, the feeling Bill Belichick saw that one coming.
I like when Collinsworth tries to be humorous and Al Michaels puts on the stage laugh really hard. I love announcer banter. I just love it. How much knife twisting would it have taken for you to watch Philly New York Giants today?
It's like the Giants are 3-7, and I heard at the very end of the game, 3-7, and they're only a game half out of first place.
Yeah, that's true. These games still have meaning. That's true. So maybe it's not too hard to watch it. All right, dump off to the running back. They're at the 20. They haven't moved a lot.
Wow, look at the rain. Rain just really coming down.
Ton of rain. Couple good rain games today.
Yeah. But
they have a running clock? Oh, they don't have any timeouts. All right, let's call the last play. 10 seconds, fourth quarter. Go ahead.
Lamar Jackson can't see anything right now, so he's probably going to have to run.
I agree, Al. I agree. They have limited options at this point. This is going to be a huge win for New England. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about bagging their season. They're going to be 4-5, and they just got a quality win. The storylines going into this game for me was, can Baltimore keep pace with Pittsburgh, and can New England salvage their season? And I think we know no on Baltimore and yes on New England.
Yeah, we go back to football being a game of inches. That Pittsburgh-Baltimore game was close, but now look, now they seem like there seems like a canyon, between them at this point in the year.
Yeah, this is big. It seems like the Ravens have been found out. It looks like there's a game plan, kind of when a boxer figures out his opponent's timing. Like, all right, I know how to get inside on this guy now. Yeah, there's going to be questions for the Ravens coming up after this. This isn't a throwaway game like the Seattle one might be. This one is this is a rough loss. You just did not perform.
Well, then moving on to Buccaneers at Panthers.
I watched this one.
They counted Tom Brady out, after the dud from last Sunday night.
We buried him.
He goes on and then he just torches the Panthers. And the Panthers, first-year coach, no superstars, but that's another scrappy team that they're just, they're a decent football team. 46-23, Buccaneers go to 7-3, and Tom Brady 3 touchdowns. Ronald Jones had a big 98-yard touchdown run. It was a good game to watch, and now you got to be feeling better about your team if you're a Buccaneers fan.
Big win for Tampa Bay. I wrote these in my notes. Brady bounces back. There was a play where it was shades of old Gronk, where he catches the ball and just muscles off 2 guys. Antonio Brown had 2 catches that sealed the game for Tampa Bay.
Right.
And then, like you said, the Carolina coach, I think he's the only coach whose visor gets bigger every week. He had one on today that went above the brim of his hat. It was really impressive.
That's true.
Yeah, good, big win for Tampa Bay. They
And then
are
moving
they are
on,
back on track.
your Raiders put on a show against the Broncos. Now, granted, it's not the best Broncos team we've ever seen, but that's a convincing win to outscore them 27-6 in the second half. That's huge. And
It
now
was.
Raiders are 6-3. They're looking for a wild card spot. Let's see what happens.
I purposely don't watch my team's games because it's too much for me. And this is one where I check the score and they're leading like 10-6 at halftime. And I'm like, oh, great. Okay. Broncos are going to come back. I have home team PTSD.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, they're going to come back. I'm going to have to keep checking the score. And then like midway through the fourth, they had the big lead. I was like, I can turn it off. I don't have to look at this game. It's so weird. I cannot watch them, but this is a big momentum. And then leading into their next game, I think they're Sunday night against the Chiefs next.
Yeah.
Or the Chiefs are at them. Big game. The Chiefs lost to them last time, so they got a chip on their shoulder. This is another true test.
Can we go on?
True test game for old LV Raiders.
And the battle of rookie quarterbacks, Chargers 21, Dolphins 29. Another team, Tua, kind of similar flight plan as Kyler Murray. He's got his team playing hard, 6-3. Like I told you last week, it seems like the Dolphins are just rallying around their young rookie quarterback. Dolphins are going to be an interesting team to watch. I still think that the Bills are a better football team in that division, but the Dolphins are definitely on their heels. What did you think about that one?
This was the other game that I was going to make my game instead of Seattle. But I went LA Chargers at Miami for Tua watch. Game 3 for Tua. Here's his stats: 15-25, 169 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions, no sacks. His team in general had 111 yards rushing, so not huge offense, yet they pull off another win. He had a couple down the field throws too that were good. You know what I liked about this game? Very underrated aspect of this game. We talked last week how I just like Dallas versus Steelers for the uniform matchup.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed this. The Chargers and the Dolphins both went with throwbacks.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins had their like 70s Dolphins. The Chargers had their, I don't know if they were a true throwback, but they had their San Diego Superchargers.
The base was definitely a throwback. Yeah, for sure.
Uniform. So we had this.
You of that. Was it like an old, like it was in the
exactly
championship game? It was like a 1980 championship game.
The triple overtime. That's exactly what I was like. This is great.
The Kellen Winslow game.
Winslow, the triple overtime, the hook and ladder play. I think this should happen more often. Throwback against throwback. It was great. I also like, why I like Miami's uniforms in general is because the use of teal. It's so Miami. This looks like somebody from Miami would dress this way.
For sure.
So it's one a great uniform matchup. What I also noticed too, the Miami kicker had a streak going of X amount of field goals going. And sure enough, the announcers got to jinx him. He comes out to kick it and they go, here you go, Miami. And they call him the machine, the machine to kick it 40 yards. Sure enough, he misses it. I was like, why do they do this with backup QBs? They do it with kickers. It's so weird. It's got to be 80% hit rate.
There we go.
So Miami, big win. Although the Chargers, I mean, they find ways to lose no matter what. I feel bad for them. It's kind of like Carolina is the good version of the Chargers. They're going to play good, but they're going to lose.
You got the Niners losing again to the Saints. Not a big surprise here. Niners are just beat up and down the roster. I think, and call me biased, you look at the shirt I'm wearing, I think had we had a healthy team, this is a different result. This is a much closer game. We just don't have the staff, the personnel, the depth.
The Niners were up. They were up 10.
And it was interesting because you're like,
the Mullins era was in full effect.
It's like, how are you guys? I mean, you're looking at the Saints. How are you guys losing to these guys? You know what I mean? But Saints eventually won. I just think, again, the injury bug is just too much to overcome. Moving on to Thursday night's game, because I want to talk to you about the other game today, but I want to save it to the end. Colts over the Titans. Colts tied for first in that division now. They're both teams are 6-3. Again, we got a lot of 6-3 teams that are playing some good quality football, which is going to make the race for now, I guess, the extra wild card spots is going to be really interesting.
It's so weird. We don't talk about Pittsburgh at all. They're undefeated, and we spend so much time on the Colts. It's like Pittsburgh is effortlessly running the table, and the Colts are trying their hardest.
And that's why I wanted to save that game to the end of our rundown, because we got to start talking. You always hear about the 72. Obviously that team's getting a lot older, but they still get together every year to celebrate the demise of the last undefeated team. And so now we have a situation where the Pittsburgh Steelers are 9-0. Okay, so when can we start talking about their chance to run the table? And let's go through their schedule coming up, okay?
Okay, you're ahead of me. I was going to ask, who are they playing?
This is a very doable schedule, okay? Next week, at Jaguars, okay?
Call that a win.
Thanksgiving Thursday night versus the Ravens, and they've already beaten the Ravens, okay?
Home or away for the Ravens one?
Home game.
Okay.
The next home game, Washington football team. This is going to get tricky at Bills Mafia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then at Bengals, home against the Colts, at Browns. So teams that you think that it seems like that at Bills game is going to be the true test of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But nonetheless, they could run the table. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they could. Is early to talk about running the table.
I think when you get to 10-0, you start to have the talk. You know, when the Dolphins the former players get together and they're like, hey, let's get together. Let's see if they lose it. I think you don't do it till 10-0. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't think they run the table. I think they lose 2 of those games out of that schedule. You just said it's not an easy schedule.
No, Browns,
So,
a division game against the Browns, that's not easy.
I say they lose 2 trap games there. I could totally see them taking off Washington or something and them winning the important games.
We'll see what happens.
Who do they play next week?
It's Jaguars.
Oh, okay. That should be a win.
But then it's a short turnaround to Thanksgiving Thursday,
right?
4 days off. So we'll see what happens there.
Right. Okay. We might have to do an emergency podcast after that one. Because now you got me curious how we categorize the Steelers. What about, before we move on to the questions, it's Masters week, different schedule this year. Masters is in the fall. It was up against the Fox games in the morning. So it was kind of like I was forced to check on the Masters all morning long. And I'm watching, I don't really follow golf, so I don't really know the names, but I just visually, when did golfers get so fit? They're all like lean, buff dudes with arms. Go back to 1984 with Jack Nicklaus, and he's got the belly. He's lumbering around. He's probably smoking in between holes, and he's probably 42 years old.
Right.
Yeah. Golfers, your sport has turned the corner when all of a sudden everyone is in shape now, regardless of the activity. I mean, how much longer till bowling turns? What's going to be the last sport that still allows you to be a fat fuck and still be competitive? It's got to be bowling.
I'm going to go with curling.
Curling, you would think that. Yeah, I would think that. These dudes are all fit, in good shape. You know what I like about the Masters? I like that you get a green jacket for winning, and I like that last year's winner has to give it to you.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool tradition, but I'll go one further. You win the Masters, I think you should get to wear something green, like shirt, pants, for the rest of the season. See, like, this is the Masters champion, gets to let you know he is the current reigning champion.
So we'll see how this plays out.
I think that'd be good. Yeah, the Masters. I kept an eye on it. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I did too. It was good to watch.
I like how the caddy wears a jumpsuit. I'm sure there's a reason why they wear a one-piece jumpsuit, but I don't know why.
That's a tradition too. And I did notice there were a few of the guys that had their jumpsuit unbuttoned and they had their favorite football team T-shirt. I saw a New York Giants.
Oh, really? I like that.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
I like that. Let's do the questions next. Do we have any final thoughts on the Sunday night game? Let me think.
Let's see where this Patriots team goes from here. Let's see where the Ravens go from here.
Oh, have you noticed this? I think it's the third week in a row that Al Michaels uses the term spinorama. He used it tonight. I know I've heard it before, and he might have used it in a previous game. I think I'm going to watch out next Sunday night. See if he uses the word spinorama. I don't know if that's slang or not. All right, here's my questions. I got 4 of them for you this week. Question number 1. Do we just throw out this game for Seattle? Is this a on the road, forget about it, this isn't who we are game?
This you don't, you're a little concerned because it's a division loss, but again, Russell Wilson's going to put his team in the best possible position to win more football games. So I wouldn't look scared if I'm the Seahawks. They still have a very
throw it out. Team. Throw out the game.
Throw it out.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. All right. Question number 2. Arizona Buffalo. Crazy game. Hail Mary ending. You're going home from this game. Who's up? Who's down? Or can either of them be both of one? Because I'm thinking if you're Arizona, you're obviously up. But if you're Buffalo, I don't think you're too down about this game.
This loss against Buffalo, I don't think anybody should be questioning the of the Cardinals. I think they believe in themselves. So I don't think this result comes at any surprise to them. But if you're the Bills, that's a long plane ride back to Buffalo, and you're kicking yourself because you were 34 seconds away from winning this football game.
Okay, that makes more sense. That the Bills are down. You've got a lot to stew over for this rough loss. I just don't know why they don't just go crazy on the blitzes. Why not? Why not just blitz them? Don't hang back. The prevent. Okay, we announced that the NBA starting their season, I think in November. So this next question, who do you think retires first? Tom Brady, Drew Brees, or LeBron James?
I can't imagine. I think that there's a chance that the first one that retires is in this group. I'm not entirely convinced. And if they out on their face in the playoffs again, the Saints, I think this could be Drew Brees' last year.
Yeah, well, he had the injury today, so this.
Yeah, and then he had an injury today, and hopefully,
as far as odds go, he's got to be up in number 1 of those 3.
But obviously, I don't think any has been blessed with the fight against Father Time that Tom Brady has, But I think the first one to retire is going to be Brees, followed by Brady. I can't imagine Brady goes. I think he does next year. Highly questionable if he comes back the year after. And I think it'd be smart for them to bring in a young quarterback to, so Brady can mentor him, under Bruce Arians. I think LeBron is going to be the last to retire because I really do think, without him saying too much, I really do think it's his dream to be playing basketball with his son or against his son.
Yeah, that's a good point. If that is even in the cards, he's going to try for that. Also, LeBron, I think, does not want to leave. He wants to stay in the NBA as long as possible. Football, a little more taxing on the body, so it would make sense that the football guy goes first. I could see Brady hanging on for one sad year, 1 year too much, and then retiring. But odds on all 3 would be an interesting bet to take. And Brees had the injury today. What do you think the plan is with Brees? So we got to see Winston, And then of
Oh,
course they got Tyson Hill to jump in there. If
I
you're Breeze, what do you, or if you're the coaching staff, what do you're thinking? All right, we're good, or we need to get Breeze
we're
back
not
as soon as
good.
possible.
That I thought everyone was talking about that offseason surgery that Jameis Winston had on his eyes. He made some throws today that I have no idea what he was looking at. Uh,
I
I
love
think
Winston. He's so much fun.
I think he just gets way too rattled with a little bit of pressure, and he was off the mark. It was definitely not good.
I can't wait to
But
see the injury report to see if what Breeze's status is. If you're Winston, you got to be like, hey, Winston, we got this guy named Kamara. Just give it to him, dude. Just let him do his thing. In fact, we'll let him take a few snaps too.
so
I got a fourth question I did not prep you on purpose. Thanksgiving edition question.
okay.
You can invite one broadcast team to your Thanksgiving dinner. Who's it going to be? Your choices are Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, or Tony Romo and Jim Nance.
I don't think I'm cool enough to eat with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, so we can throw them out.
First
Right.
of all,
I think I'd be trying to.
how do you do your Thanksgiving? Do you do the big family thing? Do you go somewhere? What are you inviting them to exactly?
Oh, you got to have a family, and you got to you got to go all out with your setup at home.
Okay, so that's what they're coming into, and Joe Buck,
And
and because you think you're not cool enough, huh?
I don't think I'm cool enough to hang out with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I just think there's an element of cool there, and I fall well short of that mark. Um, I don't know if I could handle Tony Romo's goofiness throughout the during a full 4-course Thanksgiving meal. So I'm gonna go with you got to have Thanksgiving break bread with Collinsworth and Al Michaels.
You're breaking bread with Collins or that. Not bad. I like your stream of consciousness thinking there. I'm gonna go. Okay, Aikman. If I want Aikman, I'm just realizing I got to have Joe Buck with him. That's just a penalty because Joe Buck would be too annoying for me Thanksgiving, I think. So as much as I like Aikman, the deal is sure you want Aikman, but you get Joe Buck with them. So I'm eliminating them. I'm going to say no. Collinsworth and Al Michaels, tough decision. I think Collinsworth would be fun. I think Al Michaels falls asleep in a chair somewhere around apple pie serving. So I go Romo Nance because I think I could talk Romo into calling the backyard football game with all the cousins and uncles. And I think that would be fun. And then I think Jim Nance would have some really good stories. I think he's a sneaky pick for an entertaining guest is Jim Nance.
It'd be between Nance and Al Michaels would definitely be fun because they've covered so much. It's not just football. So
that's
that would
true.
Be cool.
Who do you think gets the drunkest of those
Al
six
Michaels.
people? Al Michaels gets drunk, huh? Yeah, I see it.
I just hope he's off probation.
I see it. I see it. Al Michaels would tip a few back of all those six of our choice. Who gets the most drunk at my Thanksgiving of all the broadcasters? I'm with you. All right, I have the awards for the week, and this is the Masters Edition Awards, a tradition like no other. First award. This is the From the Rough Award. And this goes to Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. They were in a tough spot early. Phillip Rivers, new team, and yet they're flourishing. So they chipped it. Let's say they chipped it from about 100 yards from the pin in the rough, and they got on the green with a really good lay. From the rough.
From the rough.
Award number 2. This is the Rain Delay Award. And this goes to the storm system that went through not only Cleveland, but New England today. It got 2 games.
I'm going to go with that. It got 2 games. You're absolutely right. It just swept through that region, went up to the Northeast. Definitely the rain delay.
Yeah, big Sunday for the rain system. You know how we name hurricanes? We should give storm systems not names, but maybe a name in some other capacity. Like we should name little small storm systems after cars or something. Like this is a Volkswagen Jetta storm system. You know, it doesn't deserve a full traditional name, but it definitely deserves something because this rain delay got 2 games in one Sunday. That's impressive.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about the long off the tee award? This is a no-brainer. This is the Hail Mary from Murray to Hopkins today. Big drive off the tee. This is the heavy hitter, knocks it 400 yards off the tee straight away.
Just buries it, long putt with a huge break.
And long putt award.
Yeah, definitely. You got to give it to that Hail Mary at the end. What about the shot that spins out, that you had the chance and you blew it? I guess the same could be said for the Buffalo Bills.
That would be the Bills, right? Yeah, it lips out.
You could put the Jaguars on that list. Just kind of, although they weren't supposed to win, but it would have been nice had they sunk that shot. But I see where you're coming from.
That would almost be as well. The putt that lips out is the Bills scoring that touchdown, but then the Bills saying, is that a gimme? And then Arizona says, nah, you got to putt it in. You never know. Or when you score a touchdown in Madden and you're like, that's it, the game's over, but you're forced to kick off the ball just to finish it off, just to make it official. So yeah, good addition to the long off the tee award is the long putt that lips out secondary award. Okay, this next award is a little harder to explain. This one is called the Walk or Ride Award. This is when you pay your greens fees to play a round of golf, and the pro asks you, are you going to walk or ride? And you have to choose cart or you're going to walk. And this is going to go to, this is a future award, the Breeze decision, which we're probably going to find out like on Wednesday, if he's going to play or not. Like, all right, Breeze is 75%. Do we bench him for Winston, or do we say a 75% Breeze is better than 100% Winston? So the Ride or Walk award goes to the Breeze decision that's going to happen midweek.
I will double down on a future bet, but we'll find out this tomorrow. If the Vikings can pull off this win, okay, tomorrow, and again, I can't believe the Bears have mustered 5 wins, okay? If the Vikings win tomorrow, they're 4-5, and by no means are they out of the race, okay? Are they walking or are they riding? And so you wonder, at what point do you start at what point do you throw in the towel and say, look, we just gotta, we gotta evaluate the talent that we have. We gotta see who we're bringing back next year. We gotta really evaluate things. Or if you get a win, you're 4-5 tomorrow. You get some momentum. You've gone from 1-5 to 4-5. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do there? And so we're going to
definitely in no man's land when it comes to record.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what you do either. I guess it depends on the locker room. This is where we're really in no man's land when it comes to sports.
Oh, 4-5 is a terrible record. I mean, you're not the worst, but also you're not in there by any stretch of the word. So
you're in the friend zone of professional sports. Essentially, you're not up, you're not down. You're in the friend zone. The NFL is friend zoning the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
Walk or ride. Yeah, we'll find out tomorrow. Last award. This one's called the Back Nine Award. I'm giving it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm adding the New England Patriots to it. Their back nine is looking much more promising than the front nine. There's a couple par threes on this back nine. They're good with the irons. It could be a better back nine for Tampa Bay and New England. I still got my back pocket hopes of a Tampa Bay New England Super Bowl.
My back nine. Let's see how the Pittsburgh Steelers out.
Oh, so you're saying the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have a good back nine also? Interesting.
They could.
You're high on the Steelers.
I am only because beating you in so many ways. Turnovers. They got weapons on offense. They got a pass rush. Playing good special teams. They just do everything well. I'm not saying they're the greatest regular season team I've ever seen, but they do a lot of things really well, and that's what it takes.
They got a cool coach. We gave Mike Tomlin the cool coach award last week.
We did.
Predictions for Monday night. Monday night, Minnesota goes into Chicago. The 3-5 Minnesota Vikings versus the oddly still in the winning column, 5-4 Chicago Bears. Question number one, is this even a watchable game? Are we gonna watch this game?
I'm gonna watch the game. I'm thinking I don't think this game's gonna be close. I think the Vikings are gonna run all over the Bears with Dalvin Cook. So I like the Vikings, and I like the Vikings big.
This could be a very possible wheels come off the wagon game for Chicago. The worst thing that could happen in this game is Chicago wins, because then we get confused again and we don't know what to think of them. Minnesota is favored by 3 points going into Chicago to this game too.
Right.
So you're in agreement with the odds makers like Minnesota on this one.
I like them. Yep.
Yeah, we'll see. Where do you stand on this? I've noticed on a lot of teams. Shiny, glossy finish on a helmet or the matte finish?
Love the matte. I think
really, I'm tired of the matte. I say go shiny. Shine those things up.
I love the matte. I love the matte.
Who's got matte helmets? It's Vikings. Who else has one?
Got a matte. Who else? Do the Falcons? Do the new Falcons have a matte?
I don't know about that. They have a new helmet. You're right. It might just be there's a lot of college teams that have it.
I think the Vikings matte is great. Keep it up.
I strongly disagree. I love the shiny helmet. Love the shiny helmet. The Vikings. That would be, we'll have to see if number one, if Monday night is watchable, and number two, gauge our confusion level with the Bears and the Vikings.
Right.
I don't know. Sunday night. God, we saw a lot of weird stuff today.
Good times.
Good Sunday night talk by you and me. My team won, your team lost. Pittsburgh undefeated. Bills lose at the last second. What else can I sum up for the week? Early games were great. Masters was interesting. And you should wear the green jacket all year long.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Sunday night talk. Thanks, Omar.
Thank you, buddy.
All right.